In Hex, we're patient, right? Because it's all about waiting for your stake to come out. So we can wait for the people to join us. That's right.
I think we just got a couple more people, then we'll go ahead and get started. Taylor, we good over there? Welcome, welcome. Go ahead and have
We got room here in the front.
So for you guys in the back, you still have the chance to fill up the seats.
I'll wander over eventually.
Okay. All right, everybody, welcome to the 5555 tour. We made it all the way to Albany, New York. Please go ahead and put your hands together for our presenters today, Hex Lion and Maddie All In.
Hello and welcome everybody. Awesome to see such a big crowd here. Thanks for being here tonight. And to start with, I would like to show you our 5555 tour trailer, because our tour is also doing a documentary like they are doing for Richard Hart as well. And so to start with, I would like to show you what our tour trailer is all about. So let's see, there is Katie, there is Teddy. Okay, I guess everybody is in here already. Perfect, and let's start. I need to connect with the box again, sorry for that. Where is my Bluetooth?
The speakers on.
Is the box on? I have to check that.
It just idled out.
It idled out. Now I'm connected here. Bluetooth connected. Does it like this? Yes.
Hey guys, my name is Albany. Everybody knows me under the name abit_hex. 2 years ago, I was in a horrible place in my life. I was homeless, I was addicted to drugs and alcohol, and I was divorcing my wife by then. I had no hope, no goals, and I was just living day to day. Then I found out about Richard, and he helped me so much with his self-help books and videos that it changed my life completely. I was so thankful to find somebody who would now help me and give me the motivation to be successful in life. I started learning.
the 5555 tour.
So after this trailer, welcome again. The voice you heard, or the guy who you saw.
Looking for a complete how to make a website for beginners tutorial with a fully functional professional website at no cost to you, then you come to the right place.
I'm not signed in. My fault. happened already like the third time to me that I forgot to skip YouTube after the trailer. All right, so the voice you heard here, this was Al, my buddy from Kryptosparbuch, who is sad he couldn't make it to here. He is stuck a week longer in Germany, and he will come back in a week and then continue with me the tour. So greetings from him from Germany. Actually, he's right now with another buddy of mine in Switzerland, meeting with Hodldog, so Hexicans are still connecting and try to brainstorm as much as possible, like how to bring Hex the attention it deserves. And as Alan couldn't make it right now, I'm glad that another OG jumped in with me today at the workshop. So welcome, Maddie, and thanks for being with me today and helping out here.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'm really excited any way I can help.
So first thing, as it is a little workshop here, and every Hexican already knows the Stakehrap. And the Stakehrap is a thing which you can either use to visualize your Hex portfolio or to actively use as a wallet as well. And as it is just great to have a look at it as well. So everybody who is not having the Stakehrap, the application on his phone, just a free application, can go ahead and scan the QR code that everybody has the wallet already. So after the workshop today, it's also nice to have a look in the wallet that you can, because you can see the chart in there, and you can see what is going on in the Hex ecosystem, even if you don't actively use it as a wallet, if you only use it to visualize your stakes, for example.
And know what your penalties are.
For example, yeah, that's also a thing which we are going to talk about today in the workshop. Hex has a nice system, it's called staking, and when it comes to the Hex staking system, we have a new thing. It's without any middleman, it's just based on mathematics. It's a dynamic interest system, and in the last section of today's workshop, we are talking in depth about that as well. So I guess that's fine for everybody, yes? So first section is like, why Hex? So Maddie, when it comes to your mind, why should we look into Hex? What do you think are the main topics of why Hex?
Yeah, so everybody knows that cryptocurrency is something that can appreciate in value greatly, and everybody knows that Bitcoin went from being worth almost nothing to being worth a lot. And so when it comes to Hex, Hex built on top of that technology, and at the same time, being the best technology sometimes means that you don't compromise on other things. And so when it comes to exchange listings, or when it comes to all the bribes that normally happen in crypto and in legacy finance, Hex did not submit to that. And so Hex is really an organic thing. It's got a community behind it of people who are normal people, like he and my background is as a therapist and a neuroscientist. And so that's what I did for the past 14 years until I got financially free. And so there are going to be a lot of things that attract people to Hex. Everybody's going to find what it is that makes Hex important to them. For some people, it's the mad gains. For some people, it's the community. For some people, it's just the math and the technology.
And when we look at the fundamentals behind Hex, so what is Hex actually? So technically speaking, it's a so-called smart contract, a finished contract which cannot be changed by anybody ever in the future. And to make sure that this finished product is safe and secure, the Hex code, the code base, the code lines, years, and now we have already a good amount of history, and we just know for a fact that in this history Hex has 100% uptime. That means that each and everybody could interact with this code 24 hours, 7 days a week, which means you are your own bank, you are in control of your money, and there is nothing which can stop you for interacting with your money. Not weekends or holidays, you will be able to transfer all day long. you hold your own keys. That means that you don't need to trust anybody, a third party. Like when it comes to your bank account, you have like a shared trust system. Only if the bank allows you to send your money back and forth, you have access to it. And on a certain point, sometimes it happens like to random people out of nothing. They just cancel all the possibilities of your bank account, and then you're out of your money basically. That won't happen when you hold Hex, because you hold your own keys. You just need to take care that nobody else gets your key, and then you're fine, because you have no middleman in Hex. So there is no third party like promising you anything, like the interest you get. It's just a mathematical system of interest. We will talk about that in the staking section. And this interest system is also like the most interesting function of Hex, and it means that
that we all understood that Hex is actually the only crypto that exists. And a lot of people hear that and they want to know more, right? Because they hear that Bitcoin is a crypto. But when you really get down to what is a crypto is something that is decentralized, right? And it frees you from middlemen. And you know, a lot of times, like, things can change, right? Being able to update your worldview and say, wait a second, everybody who has Bitcoin on Coinbase and they're not holding their own private keys, that's not really crypto. And so it's really cool that Hex was invented around the same time as another technology called Uniswap, which is a protocol that allows people to trade in a decentralized manner. And so a lot of people, when they first bought their Bitcoin, they had to go to a middleman to get it. But it was this idea that someday it would be more decentralized. Well, you know, Hex is probably the most popular coin that has had 99% of its volume trade on decentralized exchanges. And decentralized exchanges are a new technology, and so that's another exciting point.
Yeah, and now let's look over just some charts, and I will make it really quick. So first of all, outperforming every market. Hex, since its beginning in December 2019, had just a little rough start, because I don't know why, but everybody in the market was accusing Richard Hart, the founder of Hex, of making a scam here. And that's why Hex had like a little rough start, because the market needed a few months to figure out that that is not the case. And then in March, when every market starts tanking because of the global lockdowns and pandemic, Hex started to outperform every market, and since then it just continues to perform better versus ETH, Bitcoin, and of course against the stock market as well.
And the mantra is like up and to the right, because to the right means time and up means price appreciation.
So, and this chart was like before the Hex staking even. Next chart here. Hex outperforms Bitcoin and Ethereum, and here we put it in a time perspective. So what you see here is the overall performance of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Hex, and like also the overall timeline. So we have the 12.5 years of Bitcoin, and we have Ethereum since 2015, and we have the Hex chart since nearly the 2 years. We have a logarithmic scale here, and what it tells you here is that Hex is fundamentally designed like the best cryptocurrencies as well, because we are just on track with Bitcoin and outperforming Ethereum as well when it comes on the time perspective. But if you look at the things what Bitcoin and Ethereum did, you just see that there is a lot of room to grow as well. And Bitcoin did over 6 million X in the course of 12 years. And
what?
Yes.
6 million X. So every dollar I put into Bitcoin at a penny, then when it was $60,000, it would have, wow, that's a lot.
Yep, that's $6 million bucks right there out of a penny.
Yeah. Okay, so if I put $200 into Bitcoin when it was a penny, then I'd have $1.2 billion today. How many people do you think held on to those gains?
Actually, if you only put it $2, then you would have, no, $2 would be 1.2 billion, not 200. 200 would be like 120 billion.
Okay, so that doesn't make any sense. How many people do you think held on to those gains?
nearly nobody, because when it comes to Bitcoin or Ethereum, you can just sell it whenever you want to. There is no lockup mechanism. You can protect yourself of your shaky hands, and when the asset makes like a 10x, a 100x, a 1000x, you just want to sell it in order to realize the home, the Lambo, or whatever. So when it comes to the Bitcoin gains, nearly nobody catched those 6.5 million X in the last 12 years. Only the richest ones who never needed to take something off their Bitcoin bag really catched it. But I'm sure I will catch the 6.5 million X in Hex, and it has to do with the staking. We'll talk about it later.
So what you're saying is that time locking your Hex could save you from yourself?
Yes. What is your point on that, huh?
Yeah. Cool. Tell me more.
I will tell you more, Betty, of course. So next chart we have here, Hex shines, others fail. Because usually when it comes to the crypto market, we have still an unregulated market, which is full of people who just try to steal your money. So about over 90% of all the things existing on this market are just outright scams or just like schemes which try to take your money for themselves. And Hex shines because Hex has 100% uptime. Hex has no admin keys. There is nobody who can change anything about Hex. And left and right things are failing. Have inflation bugs, have hacked interfaces, or are just straight scams. And one special example I'd like to give here on this chart is down here to the right, the cryptocurrency IOTA. So a few months ago, they got like a bug in their code, and like a hacker got in, and they have an admin key, they have admin. So the admin used their key for stopping that nobody could interact with this blockchain anymore. Not the hacker as well, but you know, you were not being able to get your money when you had this cryptocurrency. And that's not like the goal of cryptocurrency or why cryptocurrency got invented. And that is just to show you why Hex is just a good product and not a project with any roadmap or something like that.
So if I'm making any coin I want to, then what's the profit margin on that if I'm scamming people? Is that profitable to scam people? Yes, it is. And that's, so people who are making coins that are scams, they are making a lot of money. And they reinvest that money into marketing. And then they make even more money, right? Because they're pulling people in until it collapses. So with Hex, you see, you know, Hex Lion is the one paying for, you know, this workshop. It's not Richard Hart. It's not the founder of Hex. Hex has not spent money on marketing other than what the community is willing to sacrifice. And so I think that that's also a really good selling point, you know, because personally I've, you know, sacrificed a lot to create advertising for Hex because it's that good, because I want people to know about it, even if I'm, you know, like, even if I'm not going to make as much money, I would rather share it with others and pay it forward.
Yeah, Richard Hart always, thank you. So Richard Hart taught us, if you want to see marketing for Hex, then it's about on you, and you go and do it. So we as the Crypto Sparbuch team, we were financially free, so Alan and I, and back in May, I got to Alan when he was in Mexico, and we had a great, we just talked about Hex and Pulse all day long, actually. And then in end of June, we came to Maddie, who hosted the first meetup in Las Vegas, and we just met a bunch of great people of the Hexican OGs. And so we decided we need to do something else, and as we are already like just touring the world, we thought, okay, let's spend some more time in America. And then with the help of T-Money, who we met in Vegas as well, everything just blew off. And with his help, we are able to get the cars and the cars wrapped. And then we also put a team together. And now we are touring through the country with the whole team. We have a camera guy, we have an editor with us, we have 2 social media guys with us, we have some OGs with us. And hopefully the tour just becomes bigger and bigger as we go on, and we will have the end of the tour in March as well, back in Vegas. So let's go on here. Here the last chart of Hex. I would like to show you the price appreciation of Hex. Because usually, especially right now, people who came in like a month or two ago, they are a little in the minus because as it goes, there are always corrections and cryptocurrencies are really, really volatile. And just to bring it into perspective, it's not that Hex will die after a 70% correction or after an 80% correction. It's just what cryptocurrencies are usually doing. And what you can see here, after each correction, Hex made new all-time highs. And I will just go through it really quickly. So in the beginning, like when I got in, I had like 80% and a 70% correction within the first 4 months. Then during the summer, another nearly 70%. Then we had the end of the launch phase of Hex, where everybody got like a bunch of Hex. It was called the big payday. And a lot of people thought that Hex will die off right here. But directly after the event, the community started buying up, and 6 weeks after that, we got a new all-time high. And also with the run-up in this year, we had one near 50% correction, then a second near 50% correction, a 63 correction in just 5 days, and now we are in the next correction as Pulse chain, where everybody is waiting for. It's like a little delayed, and that's the main reason why we are in a sidewards turn right now. Anything to add of the price performance?
We also hit that 10,000x at 50 cents.
56,
and that's what a lot of people were waiting for. So yeah, I mean, it's whenever people are selling, that's an opportunity for people who are buying. If you know, if they're wanting to be long-term thinkers.
Mm-hmm. All right. So next part in the section today is like, let's talk a little bit about security and about wallets. So we here on the tour, it's more or less like Abid and myself, we choose to go to the Stakehrap team. Just a little background, Stakehrap team are 2 Hex OGs from the first day, named Steph from Europe, from France, and from America, Fireban. And they came together, quitted their jobs, nice paid jobs and so on, and they came together and just wanted to create the best user interface for Hex and now also for Pulse chain, and that's why they went ahead and created the Stakehrap interface. And I mean, most of the Hexicans, I would say, like everybody is loving it, even if you don't actively use it as a smart wallet, only for visualizing the stakes. It's a great tool as well. And also for
I'm gonna brag a little bit about Steph right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
He's the founder of Stakehrap. He's an incredible human being, extremely intelligent. He led a team at Google. Normally you have to be pretty good just to work at Google. He had a team of about 25 people. They worked for quite some time to make an app to teach kids how to read, and that got deployed to over 20 million downloads. And so I had the chance to do a little retreat with Steph in the Ukraine maybe a month or two ago, and got to know him really well, and I'm really impressed. He thinks that Stakehrap will be the next, you know, crypto app to have 20 or 30 million downloads or more. So it's very impressive what he's doing.
Yeah. So their goal is to create the killer app of crypto, like the best user interface for each and everybody. Where also for people new to the space, it's not like just a bunch of new information and you need to go through it like days and days before you're ready to act. So if somebody can make it easy to use, then it is Steph and Fireban. So now about the technical advantages when it comes to the Stakehrap. It's more secure than when it comes to the MetaMask. When it comes to MetaMask, you have 12 words, and they are living in the background of your wallet. So if somebody gets like full access to your device, he can just go ahead and go in the background of your wallet, get this so-called secret phrase, this private key out of that, and can just rob you. When it comes to the Stakehrap, you are only generating the seed once. So ideally, you do it at home in your own private Wi-Fi. Either you take a new cell phone or your current cell phone, and then you just get rid of all the apps who are running in the background, and then you download the Stakehrap and create the the new seed phrase. Next good thing is no failed transactions. When it comes to the blockchain of Ethereum, it's overloaded right now, and you can run into several things, into several issues by just wanting to transact from A to B. And when it comes to the Stakehrap smart wallet, you won't have any stuck transaction, any failed transaction, any out of gas errors or something like that. Every transaction you put in there will go through. That's why it's like it's way easier to use than other wallets, and you can create. So when it comes to Hex, you have the staking option, and when it comes to staking, it's sometimes beneficial to not only create one stake, so it might be several, and you can do it by just one click over the Stakehrap. And you can also, so for each and every transaction on a blockchain, you have to pay a little fee. Now on the Ethereum blockchain, as it is so overloaded, the fees got ahead, I would say, so they are just crazy high. And when it comes to the Stakehrap, you can choose in which currency you want to pay your fees. So you don't need to have Ethereum if you don't like it. You can also choose to pay in Hex your fees or in the stablecoin USDC. And the last thing is customer support. So when you have like a open source wallet, you usually don't get any customer support with it. When it comes to the Stakehrap, you have email support with help@staker.app, and also Karim already went ahead and all the little things, the questions he got from thousands of people in the last half a year, he put it together in short videos as well. So there is another site which is called help.staker.app, and there you also find a great resource of research, you know, when it comes to the wallet functions.
And this is probably the part of the talk that sounds the most like a sales pitch, is for what wallet to use. And it's not that there's any financial benefit to the team for using it, but it's that really as a community, we benefit from having better security for everybody. And so probably you don't hear in other communities if they want you to buy the dog coin that they have today, they're not, you know, telling you to hold on and have better security. So for us, it's not just about getting new users. You know, we're not just trying to make the price go up. It's about really having people who are set for the long term. And so having the best security matters. Stakehrap uses something called Gnosis safes, that's a smart contract that allows you to have much better security. Like the founder of Ethereum, he's a multi-billionaire, and he switched his wallet over to a Gnosis safe, which is the same technology as Staker. Staker is now the #1 deployer of smart contracts in the world when it comes to wallet technology. And so again, Hex is on the cutting edge.
And as I also see some OGs here, and I know that a lot of OGs in Hex started off with a MetaMask and made like all their stakes on a MetaMask. So just real quick for all the new people, maybe like a little too technical right now, how to enhance your MetaMask security. You can buy yourself a hardware wallet like a Tracer or a Ledger. When you get it, you don't set up a new private key with the device, so you restore the device with your 12 words of the MetaMask, and then you can go ahead, delete your existing MetaMask, create a new one, just a dummy one, and this one you connect with your new hardware wallet, and then you have enhanced your security by putting it on a hardware wallet. And if you have like nothing to do for the next years, you can even reset the hardware wallet and just keep the piece of paper with the words, keep that secure, and in 5 years when you need to interact with the blockchain, for example, then you restore it with your hardware wallet, and then you interact, and then you can reset the hardware wallet again. So just like a little bit more details when it comes to security, because now for everybody again, when it comes to cryptocurrency, they don't lay in your wallet. All cryptocurrencies are always on the blockchain where it's supposed to be. So all the Bitcoins are on the Bitcoin blockchain, or Ethereum are on the Ethereum blockchain. All Hex are on the Hex in the Hex smart contract, so because it's not its own blockchain. And you're having a private key, a phrase of a couple of words, and this phrase allows you to interact with a certain part of this blockchain. And in your user interface, in your wallet, you see the actual numbers. But in the background, everything is on the blockchain. So only your private key enables you to interact a portion of the blockchain. For example, if I want to send you Hex, with my private key, I can sign that I own this Hex, and with your wallet address, I have the correct address to send it to. And when I want to send it, I sign it with my private key. So it all comes down to those words. If somebody else has those words, he can just go ahead and rob you. And that's why really important, the seed word phrase, it's your key to the blockchain. Don't share it with anybody. Don't keep it on a file in your laptop. Don't keep it in a file on your phone. Don't screenshot it. Always put it on a piece of paper. Because when I ask the people, do you still own your certificate of birth? 99% of people are saying yes. Then I ask, did you lose your certificate of birth in the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years, depending who I talk to? Usually the answer is no. So now you might have an idea of where to keep this private key. Because usually if somebody goes in your home and robs you, he's about to take your phone, your computer, your cell phone, and not like your document map. You know, so
yeah, and it's highly profitable for these scammers to go out and try to trick people into sending them their private key. So that's the 12 or 24 words that that is part of the encryption key that allows you to access your crypto. And so because it's so highly profitable, I mean, we've had on our YouTube shows, we've had people impersonating us, people, you know, replaying old streams of Richard Hart or the founder of Ethereum or anybody. And so my prediction is that the world will move more and more towards a blurring of reality between what's a scam and what's real. And really, it's going to be the technology that allows us to verify things. And so that's why security is so important.
Mm-hmm. And the next section, I will just go ahead and show you what steps are to be done when you want to create a Stakehrap smart wallet. And I will just quickly go over that. So when you downloaded the app, the first thing you see is setup progress 0 of 4. And then just press the sign in function. Sign in means that you would need your Google email or your Apple ID email. And just go ahead and use an email address where you know the password of, because if you have any problems with the app, then you go with this email address, you're signed in, you go at help@staker.app, write your issue you have right now, and then they already know, okay, you are an active user because you're in their database, and they know it. They will never know your private key, so if you lose your private key, Stakehrap cannot help you. And then just like select the account you want to use. Sorry that this second one is like in German. And then you have fulfilled the first step, easy step, just your email. Second step, set up the smart wallet. And here you get shown those 24 words. Always different 24 words, so this private key is individual for each and every user. And after you wrote down this private key, please always use a piece of paper and a pen for that, and don't screenshot again. And after that, you confirm here, and then you put in your secret recovery phrase again, just with one space in between. And what you see, where here it's like success when you wrote in all the 24 words, but after each word you press the space, and then you see like one valid word out of 24, 2 valid words out of 24. So if there is like any error on the piece of paper you just wrote down your words, you will see it by re-putting it in. Also, when you buy yourself a new phone, for example, then you just download the Stakehrap again, you use the same login, the same email, and then everything is is there already, but the functions of the app are disabled because there is no private key, and you need the private key to send and do the things. So when you have a new phone, you would need your piece of paper again. You go on wallet, you put in like a secret recovery phrase, you put it in, and then you have the whole wallet functions enabled again. If somebody robs your phone, you can just use help@staker.app. Please disable all the functions for my account, so they can disable all the wallet functions. They don't have any private key, but they give you this user interface with these functions. So if you write an email from your signed-in email account, they can disable or enable the functions of the app, which is also an enhanced security function. What you also have in the wallet app is biometric security. So it would be hard for people to get into it. So this section is actually a bit of an old section. Stakehrap team is already rolling out their version 2, and with their version 2, it's like a in-app purchase possibility. And here in the crowd, we have Adam here, who helps the local community, and for everybody who wants to set up a Stakehrap wallet in the next couple of days, he wanted to help out for everybody who needs help for that as well. Anything to add from your side, Manny?
Yeah, so we say don't ever put your seed words anywhere, and then on the screen it's showing entering them during the setup phase only, and you're entering them to make sure that you wrote them down correctly. And then you're going to go learn about Hex on YouTube and Twitter, and then if you ever have a problem, you're going to post like, hey, how do I do this? And then scammers are going to message you. They're going to DM you. They're going to say like Maddie all in. They're going to use my username to comment on YouTube and stuff. And so we really have a problem here with being able to trust, right? And so that's why it's so important to be educated, to take your time, to not rush into anything, because the hackers, and the scammers, they're being well funded, right, by people who are not well educated. So.
And they are well-educated salesperson. So they will create, with the phishing methods, they create like a lot of pressure on you in order that they are successful. Like every 10 persons, they are trying to do it or something like that. So really be aware, never show your private key to anybody else. And you have a lot of resources to cross-verify, for example. Yeah. And especially when it comes to Telegram, don't believe anybody who is like DMing you. There is no Stakehrap official support who is like writing you first, and there is no Hex support team who is writing you first.
Yeah, and on the other side of things, if you take the extra 5 minutes to just do what everybody else does, then you're protected by that, that group mentality, because in order for somebody to hack everybody in the entire system, then basically the blockchain would get forked to push that out. So at the end of the day, we can be secure and we can be confident as long as we're doing what the norm is for the level of security that the community has.
Yes, and now we are coming to the most interesting part of the Hex ecosystem, the utility of Hex, the Hex staking. So when it comes to Hex staking, we have a dynamic interest system. And so first of all here, everybody who already uses the Stakehrap actively or only to visualize his stakes has the option to click on global stats. And this picture is already like 3 weeks old, and what we can see here is the average APY, so like what would you earn if you stake your Hex for 1 year, which is about the 12% shown here. And we see like how much active stakers we have in the ecosystem. Right now it's like about 72,000 already. We see how much Hex is staked, here just calculated in USD, and we see for how much average duration it is staked. So what this global statistics show us is that over 70,000 people staked over $10 billion worth of Hex for a weighted average duration of 5.8 years. And this is already something pretty special and new for a cryptocurrency or for the market.
Yeah, a staker is just somebody who time locks their hex, and that means that you can't sell it.
And now let's break it down a little more. So protect your purchasing power. When it comes to hex and when it comes to US dollars, both currencies are inflating. But when it comes to the US dollar, you all know that we have a little group of people just deciding when and randomly how much money to create out of thin air. And you already know that if you go to the supermarket, like because of all this money creation of the last year of the pandemic, now we see already the inflation kicking in. And this will continue. And you see, like that's why the dollar has lost about almost all of his purchasing power. So hex is inflating as well, but hex is inflating based on mass, not based on a little group and randomly. Hex is inflating by 3.69% per year, not more ever. So this is a fixed mass function. And this is also the answer to the question, where does the profit come from when it comes to hex? So the hex interest is newly created inflation. It's like the same system as if the Federal Reserve would create new money and only puts it to the savings accounts of the US dollar. So here, new hex inflation is minted, and this inflation represents the interest who you can get as a hex staker.
Yeah, when new money is created, it makes the money that already exists less scarce, right? And so especially when that money goes to the people who are already in power, right, that they get to buy everything at today's prices and everybody else has to buy things at tomorrow's prices, which are always higher, right? But in Hex, it's a better economic policy, it's a better system, not just because we know it's going to be the same over time, but also because it's only paying the new money to the people who are the most long-term thinking in the system. So the people who time lock the longest get the most interest, and the interest is generated from the inflation. And so it gives a tiny incentive for people to not hold liquid, and that incentive allows people to get rewarded for waiting their turn to sell.
All right, so let's go on. Just again, what should you remember here? Hex is inflating by 3.69% per year, and this is where the money comes from when it comes to the interest you can earn. And then next thing you need to know is the Hex Staking Ratio. A few more people, let's get in. All right, so here, next chart, the Hex Staking Ratio. If all of the hex in existence, all the hex in the whole ecosystem would be actively in a stake, then the whole staker class, so everybody who is actively staked, would get an average of only 3.69 per year. And if only 1% of all the coins in existence in the ecosystem would be actively in a stake, the average per year for the whole staker class would be 369%. And as of right now, we are about those 10% staking ratio, those 10% of the whole ecosystem in an active stake. And that means that if you're an average staker, the average staker I showed you at the global statistics is the staker who locks up his money for 5.8 years. So the average staking interest per year is those 38% per year. If you're under the average, so if you're only staked for 1 year, you will get less than this 37%, about like 12% for a 1 year stake. This 38 APY is for the average staking length, those 5.86 years. And if you're staking longer than that, your option is up to 15.2 years, 5,555 days. Then you will get more than those 38% per year.
So if Hex is so good, why are only 10% of people staked?
The reason for that is because in the launch phase of Hex, there was a special address fixed in the code, so it was programmed, everybody knew that it is existing. It's called the origin address. And this address got a copy of all new hex created during the launch phase, and this address holds about 88% of all the hex in existence, and just holds it liquid in order that all the people who are in hex can get a part of this high interest per year.
So you and I were studying what Hex was before it was even launched 2 years ago. And what was happening was there were a bunch of really smart people putting together computer models of what's going to happen if we have these set of rules. And so it turned out that the best possible system was one where basically the creator of Hex would hold a bunch of the coins, and that would allow a higher APY for everybody who's time locking. Because that origin address is not time locking their coins, they're giving more for the next guy. And so that, that would be a risk, right? A centralized risk if it wasn't that the origin address also probably has billions of dollars of Bitcoin and billions of dollars of Ethereum. And so that makes it so the game theory says that the hex won't be sold, and it's just creating a higher APY for everybody.
Yeah, and we are on the blockchain, so we can look up what each and every address is doing, even if we don't know the ownership behind it. And if we look at all the origin addresses, or the origin address itself and where it sent money to, you can follow all the routes, and you will find not a single transaction where any hex got sold so far. And this is like a address made for the hex ecosystem. It's not made to enrich anybody. So what people don't realize is that when it comes to hex, there is nobody who needs to enrich himself. When it comes to usual cryptocurrency, there is always a founder who wants to enrich himself. When it comes to Richard Hart, the founder of Hex, he was financially free before Bitcoin even existed, traveling the world for a decade, and then got into Bitcoin in the beginning in 2011, spoke at a lot of Bitcoin conferences and so on, and then just saw that that the technology got older and older, and just wanted to bring cryptocurrency where they should be, and then he developed Hex in the course of over 2 years. And it's not about enriching Richard Hart here, it's about enriching us and to free the people here. Yeah, baby. So now we know Hex is inflating by this 3.69%. This inflation gets to the staker class as the interest, and here we see the interest in millions of Hex over the course of the last 2 years. So we have here the launch phase of Hex, those 350 days, and after the launch phase we had the little bonus, and from there we are only going with the inflation of 3.69%. We see here a flat line. If I would do this workshop in 3 years, we would also see that that rising a little bit. So why is that? The daily interest in Hex is based on how much Hex there are in existence. As Hex is inflating by 3.69 per year, this base will grow and grow in the future. That's why the daily interest in millions of Hex will also rise in the future. And Matty, would you like to go ahead and explain us those spikes?
So those spikes are whenever somebody ended their stake early and had to pay a penalty for that. So part of the system of Hex is saying that if you say that you're going to time lock for a certain amount of time, then you're held to that. That's part of the system of saving you from yourself, right? When Bitcoin went from $1 to $1,000, a lot of people would have sold, right? Because they wanted to get that 1,000x, right? And then it continued to go up and up and up. And so to have a mechanism in Hex, there are penalties that you pay, right? Almost draconian penalties that you pay for ending early. So if I make a 10-year time lock and I only serve 3 days and then I try to end it, I'm going to get 0. I'm not even going to get my principal back, right? And so in that sense, it's really a super immutable promise that you're making to yourself. And that's part of what the Bitcoin, what the crypto technology can do. And then that also helps keep the price up if everybody's sticking to their word. And so whenever, some of these might have been hacks where the hacker really didn't know what they were doing. In other cases, it might have been somebody who put in $1,000 at the beginning and now their stake is worth $1 million. And if you serve half your time, you can get your principal out. And so because their principal went up 100x, maybe they wanted that $100,000 now instead of waiting for the $1 million later. And so, so that's what we see is that all the penalties that you pay for ending early are paid to the people who kept their promise. So everybody who's time locked is going to get not just the APY from the contract, but also all the penalties that are paid.
Exactly, yeah. Nice explanation, thanks, Matty. And this is called the truth engine of Hex. So when it comes to Hex staking, you should think a minute before you just act, because you should think about how would you like to go forward, what type of flexibility you want to have in your staking portfolio. But I will come to that. And here, the last chart would be the Hex interest per T-share. And now we are going to explain you one complicated thing for when it comes to Hex. It's called the share system. So you are in control of your money. You decide the amount of Hex you want to put in a stake, and you decide the days you want to be actively in this stake. You can choose about a fraction of a Hex up to billions of Hex, the amount, and you can choose 1 day up to over 5,000 days in the amount of time. The longer you choose to time lock your Hex, the more bonus Hex you get, and then those Hex will get transformed into T-shares. So for people who are just staking for 1 day, they get a little bit of shares. For people who are staking 10 years or longer, they are getting like 3x this amount of shares. And what this tells you is that the main portion of the interest of Hex gets to those people who believe the most. So it's also like a positive game theory here. And the chart here shows you how much Hex you get paid on a daily base per a trillion shares. So this T just stands for the mathematical term trillion. So for a trillion shares, you're getting about 5.8 Hex per day. And this interest is not able to collect on a daily basis. It will just add to your active stake, and you can get your principal and all the accrued interest only when your time is due. So only when your stake comes to its duration, it's called, I guess. Yeah. Maturity, then you can get the principal back and all the accrued interest. If you're going in it before that, you need to pay penalties, which then go back to the staker class. And also, you should end your stake within 14 days of the time you set, because if you don't come back, there is nobody who gives you the money. You need to come back yourself to actively end your stake in order to get your money.
It didn't have to be this complicated, but it kind of did, right? So on the Ethereum blockchain, you get charged for every computation that you run, right? Because it's a decentralized computer. And so there had to be a way to account for all of the Hex in existence and all the people who are time locking. And so that led to this slightly complicated system of just basically calculating what is your share of the compound interest. And so that's what the T-shares are, it's your share of the compound interest that comes at a dynamic rate. And so it's something it's a lot to ask for somebody to understand what is money, what is Bitcoin, what is Hex, and then what are Hex shares.
Okay,
But yes.
So I can't just pull out the interest.
Yes, you can't. No, what you can do. No, you can't. So what you can do is that you choose, okay, I want to harvest my interest earlier, then you just stake earlier, yeah? So if you say, okay, I want to get my money back in a year.
Partials.
Yeah, several stakes. Yeah, so it's about it's up to you how much stakes you will do. But I'm getting there.
And what would happen if the owners, 80%, just pulled out?
Then he would ruin something that he built without
That's what
benefiting.
everyone here
Yeah, like so.
He burned the village.
Exactly. Yeah, he would kill his baby, right?
Yeah.
And
So
when
he does not want to kill his baby.
I mean, when somebody has billions of Bitcoin and billions of Ethereum and like 1 billion USDC, yeah, why would they sell their billions of Hex?
That's why I was asking you why. Would that happen?
Excellent question. Yeah. Critical thinking, very good.
Yeah, and Q&A starts in about 5 minutes, so keep your
Sorry.
questions to yourself a little bit more. I will just like
I'll
to.
keep it to myself.
I'm like no, 5 minutes more, then we are in the Q&A. So if you want
Then
to,
you're in the hot seat, buddy.
yeah, I like to be in the hot seat. I like this
I can
position
see
here. So if you want to learn a little bit more about T-shares and their deflationary character, at the first Hex online conference hosted by Maddie in the beginning of this year in January, we did a keynote presentation, so Ellen and myself, called The Power of T-shares. If you look up this title on YouTube, you will find it. And there we talk a little more about T-shares and how beneficial it is to stake for 15 years and not only like for 10 years, for example.
And you guys did a great job of predicting some things that not everybody were predicting at the time. And I'm excited that you'll be joining for the online conference coming up here in January in a couple months. And you'll be doing an update to your model so that we'll be able to see how the predictions landed and what they look like in the future.
Yeah, and here, just to visualize, those are like 3 stakes my buddy Alan did for his brother in the beginning. And this is to show you how the system works a bit. So when you look up there on the right for each and every stake here, you see it's a principle of 10,000 hex each, and they are made around the same time. They were made around the same time. The one up there is a 2-year stake, this one is a 5-year stake, and this one is a 10-year stake. And here you already see like the allocation of T-shares. For less time, he only got the 1.41 T-shares. For a mid-time frame, for the 5-year one, 2.21. And for the 10-year one, he almost got 3 T-shares. So if you compare it with the 2-year to the 10-year, he already more than doubled the amount of T-shares. And the T-shares are representing your interest power. The more T-shares you have, the higher your daily interest will be. So, and that's why I'm saying like the most interest gets to the true believers of the system. Because here you see of the 10-year stake, he already accrued $8,000 of interest in the form of Hex. For the 5-year, it's only $6,000 in the form of interest, and for the 2-year, it's not even $4,000 in the form of interest. So the longer you believe, the more interest you get from the get-go, but you will need to wait until the stake ends. Because, for example, the first one has 81% duration, and this will give us now $5,200, but it would still be a penalty of about $3,000 even with 80% duration. And the other 2 with 27 and less than that, you will get nothing if you end it right now. The thing is, if you end your stake before the 50% mark, it cuts into your principal as well. If you end it after the 50% mark, you will get still a huge hit, but you will get your principal and some of the accrued interest. And here as well at the 10-year stake, also, of course, it would nuke the stake if we would end it now. Anything to add?
Sounds good.
All right, and now here, as people already ask, your personal staking ladder. And yep, let's zoom in a bit. What I would really recommend to everybody in the crowd, no matter the age, is to use the whole timeline what we have here, the whole 15-year timeline. And then the first stake, so at first I would recommend to accumulate my Hex bag, not go all in at one point of time, never go all in, never go all out, and like dollar cost average in, which means like putting in some steps, that because nobody knows prices are really volatile. Nobody knows if tomorrow we are like 20% higher or even 20% lower, as cryptocurrency are highly volatile and nobody knows this short-term price behavior. That's why we urge people to not go all in at one point of time, so like in several steps. When you have your Hex bag and then you start your staking, I would recommend you start at the end of the line with the 15-year stake, and then just to visualize, this would already be a dynamic staking system. When you do just 3 stakes, 5 years, 10 years, and 15 years. Because what you can do here with this system, you wait 5 years, you already accrued a bunch of interest, because 5 years of time gives you a lot of interest already. Then you can take your interest from the table, enjoy life with it, and the principal you can put out for another 15 years, and that you can redo every 5 years from then. And after you did that the 3rd time, you only have running like maximum staking lengths with the 5,555. If you want to have more flexibility, you can, for example, make a yearly ladder, but here it's skipped the first few years, because in the first few years you're not accruing that much interest. Remember, if you are below those 5.8 years average, then you don't even get the 37% per year. So here it was a skip of the first few years and then like 10 stakes from the 5-year mark. Of course, you can also do like the yearly staking all the way. And another thing for like some older people who say, I want to harvest my interest not here, I want to have the most amount of my gains like here in this section. You don't need to do a straight staking ladder like with the same amount of principal. You can choose if you want to harvest your the most of your money earlier. You can choose like higher principals in the beginning and lower principals in the end. And if you're like younger and you say, okay, in the next 15 years I will still be strong, I will still work my job, then you can put less principal in the beginning and higher principals in the end. And to keep your staking ladder dynamic, after each year, you end this stake here, you harvest the interest, and you could restake it to the end. And that's how you can make a dynamic staking ladder. So a dynamic staking ladder.
Perpetual passive income.
Yeah, a perpetual passive income ladder.
So that's what I did. Is I did a staking ladder. So in the early days, I made a stake for every year on my birthday. And then some years I made one for Bitcoin's birthday, which is October 31st, just to rub it in Bitcoin's face that we're doing so well. And so every year on my birthday, I've got a big stake coming out, and then I'm going to take that. So this last year in June, I took my Hex, I restaked the principal for another 15 years. And so that's the 16th year on my ladder. And basically, yeah, so like somebody new coming in, I would recommend, maybe do like a 5, 10, and 15 year and a liquid, which means you're not staked at all. And that way you have the 4 steps. And that way if the price appreciates and you need some money, then you don't have to end your 5-year stake early. You can take the profits there, and then you can fill in the other years as you go.
Or for example, like here you can have the staking ladder, and you can build up like a short-term staking, or just like keep a liquid part, for your own flexibility. So it always comes down how much flexibility you want to have in your own bank, So you're your own bank when it comes to Hex. And now, in the end, because I guess a lot of people are curious to find out what comes next. So when it comes to Richard Hart, he is about to start a new blockchain project as well, called the Pulse Chain. And let's talk a little bit about Pulse Chain. So first of all, this will be a new blockchain. It will be a faster blockchain. It will be a cheaper blockchain. And a lot of people are already waiting for it. So there is already a lot of financial interest that it starts. And what happens with the start of Pulse Chain? What happens is that each and every Hex you hold, liquid or in an active stake, will get a doubling. So your whole Hex portfolio is about to double when Pulse Chain starts, because now you have everything on the Is blockchain, and then everything is running here on the Is blockchain. Then you have this event, it's called the fork, and after that we have 2 blockchains, and you have the same portfolio on the Is chain than on the Pulse chain when it comes to those so-called ERC20 tokens, which are all the coins and tokens running on the Ethereum chain. Anything else I missed when it comes to Pulse chain?
Yeah, I mean, so Hex is a hybrid proof of work, proof of stake coin. And it gets its security not by burning as much electricity as possible, but by being built on top of Ethereum. And so when Ethereum started to raise its fees higher and higher, because they're in a security racket with the supercomputers that stop double spends, that's when the people in Hex started to say, wait a second, we need a better system to, basically to be able to verify our transactions. And so that's when, Richard Hart put together the dream team of about 80 people who understand game theory and computer science, and created this idea to create a version of Ethereum that is proof of stake. Basically what they've been talking about in Ethereum for a long time, and to actually make it happen. And so that's what we're seeing now with the testnet being live. We're able to see that it's faster, cheaper, it burns fees, and so it's deflationary, and it's not destroying the environment.
That's right. And and here, one of the last charts in the presentation, this is a shout out to the whole Hex community, to all the supporters. So here you also have like a lot of YouTubers who are talking about Hex and Pulse Chain, or for example hexgraphs.com. We are using his graphics here. It's also a great tool what you can use to onboard new people. And one special thing up there to the right is the things which are about to come from Mehdi. So in January next year, hexpo.online, which is an online congress free for everybody to attend on YouTube. And in March, this is 6th to the 9th in Vegas, the Hex conference. Details about that would be found on hexconference.com. And thank you, Mehdi, for being with me here today. I don't know your time schedule. I just know you have an important live stream tonight as well. And would you?
Yeah, so I've got another about 20 minutes here to do a Q&A with you.
Okay, perfect.
And
because
then
I wanted to ask you like if you will be here for the Q&A or you have still 20 minutes. Perfect.
Yep, perfect.
So then, thanks everybody for the presentation. And now let's start the Q&A. So Rob, you want to have a microphone?
So we got mics live up there. I just have them on mute. So if someone has a question, go ahead and just raise your hand and we'll get you a microphone, because we're going ahead and recording this whole thing.
The blue one.
So
Blue
you're
one.
not answering any questions, because I got questions for you.
Yeah, now we are.
Microphone, they took it away.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to start over here, and then I'll make sure I get to you.
Okay, so my question is how should I be able to forward this money if I were to die? Can I put it in trust? Can I put it in my will?
Yes, you can put it in your will, for example, if you trust your notary to keep the 12 words safe, or I don't know.
I
I'm
wouldn't
not
give
an
my
American,
words,
so
but
I'm not an American. So can you answer that?
So you would,
how would you do that?
You would educate your family. So what some people would do is called, it doesn't matter what it's called, but basically you would split your 12 words or your 24 words into 2 pieces and give them to 2 people that you trust, and that way those 2 people could come together and recreate your wallet if something were to happen to you.
Sorry. So.
Or you can write it down and put it in a safe deposit box.
Right. Yeah.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good suggestion.
And then leave the instructions with the lawyer.
Sure.
What's your background to give will advice on this?
So I'm just speaking from a computer science perspective of understanding, and also from game theory. I have a background in clinical psychology, And so basically what we're talking about here is, can you trust a lawyer with, you know, the words that they would have the private key and they would be able to run away with the money?
But they speak in law, not words.
Once
So
again, folks, we have microphones. Please wait for the microphone so we can get the recording on camera.
So the cryptography part of crypto is where you have a string of 50 letters and numbers that's called the private key, and that can control the money. And anybody who has the private key can move the money wherever they want. Part of the reason why I'm leaving early today is because I'm going to do a show with somebody who got hacked for $80 million a couple days ago. Oh my God. And yeah, so that's kind of what I'm speaking to, is the fact that these 12 or 24 words that are the cryptographic proof of your 50-character string of letters and numbers that's your private key, if that's not protected, then somebody's going to run away with the money once it's worth enough. And that's what we see with the exchanges, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way it is right now.
Yeah.
When you get paid, doesn't it come in a check for your name? Or no, there's no checks, right? So how do you get this money? I don't even understand.
Yeah, so I bought my crypto through Coinbase. There are other options, Gemini. So I bought Ethereum, and I converted it into Hex. And then I held the Hex, I time locked it, I waited until my birthday, and then I had to end my time lock, so I had to get my principal and my interest out. And then if, you know, the portion that I was able to sell, that's, I traded it on a decentralized exchange for US dollar coin. And then I sent US dollar coin to Coinbase, and they sent it to my bank account really, really quick. So that's cool.
Yeah. So it's like the same way you need to go into the market, you also go out of the market. So at first you have your US dollars, then you go with a central exchange who is offering you either USDC or Ethereum. So you send your US dollars there, convert them to USDC or Ethereum, then you send those to your wallet, exchange it for Hex. There you can stake your Hex as well. You wait until your stake ends and until the value is there. You end your stake. You exchange it decentralized back to either Ethereum or to US dollar coin. Then you send those Ethereum or USDC out of your wallet back to the exchange, exchange it to US dollars, and send it back to your bank account. So this is the route in and the route out as well.
Do you want to know what I bought?
Yes.
So I bought a mint condition DeLorean from 1981. So it's the Back to the Future car. Exactly, yes. And so the reason I got it is because it's a symbol of paying your future self. And that's where, you know, my show comes in. So the YouTube show that I do is called Hex Therapy Live. And we talk about how if you're time locked, right, then you have every reason to take better care of yourself the more the value goes up. And so we talk about how people can work on self-improvement.
I understand the date keeps changing, but do you have an idea of when Pulsar is going to drop?
11/18. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so if you ask Alan, he thought it will be the 18th of November. And I mean, on the last live stream, Richard gave a little hint. He says like after the testnet V2 goes live, about 1 to 2 months. I'm not sure personally about this 1 month, maybe yes, but I would say Q1 of 2022.
Okay. Makes me happy.
Can you guys just talk about if you do like a 10-year or 15-year stake that you can ladder it and kind of pay yourself in between, and you don't necessarily have to wait the full 10 years for it, that there's actually options to pay yourself through the laddering in Stakehrap? You want to go over that?
I don't got the question.
So you have a chart that shows different staking strategies.
Yeah.
And he's saying that a ladder is a better way to be able to get some gains in before the 10 or 15-year mark. You don't have to send it all the way out. You can spread it out. So that's what he was saying. But I think you've already covered it in the
but what is the question to that?
Just that people know that if you're 10 or 15-year stake, you can do a multi-stake, and for a 1-year payouts, 2-year payouts. So it actually breaks your stake into
within the Stakehrap.
right inside Stakehrap.
Yeah, the one-click staking ladder. That was part of
Yeah. So if they do a 10-year stake, you can pay yourself every 2 years. Instead of having to wait the full 10 years.
This is not a 10-year stake. Those are like 5 stakes for 2, for 4, for 6, for 8, and for 10 years. So like this.
Right. It's just a way for people to not have to wait 10 years. So just they know that there's ability to do that.
That is a question what you need to answer for yourself. Because I don't know where you are in life. I don't know how much money you want to put into it. I don't know what is your time preferences, So those are the questions you need to answer for yourself. Like, how much flexibility do I want to have? How much interest do I want to earn? Because for shorter time frames is a little interest. For longer time frames, it's a lot of interest. And I cannot choose for you the amount of hex you should put into each and every stake. Should you do like a straight ladder with the same principle? Do you prefer increasing your principal? Do you prefer of decreasing your principal? Those are all the questions you need to answer for yourself, because those are like really personal questions.
And the longest stake that you can do is 5,555 days. And so that's called the Cuatro Cinco. And, a lot of people feel like they're in the same club when they do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Is that a good club?
Thank you for answering
It
the
is.
question.
How stake are you in that club?
So my average stake length is like 9.9 years right now. And but I did spread it out. So I have stakes coming out every year on my birthday, but I waited, so I put a bunch of stakes for every year, and then I added more at the end.
So your advice is to stake this throughout some sort of succession over the long term, heading toward 5,500.
I can't give financial advice because I'm not a financial advisor, but I can say what I did, and other people can say what they did.
And it's really about you, because I know people who bought their first hex bag a few $1,000, put it out for 5,555, and then they started reaccumulating and working their way back. Then like for my nieces and nephews, of course, I do 5,555s because they are supported by their family. So this is an individual question for you and yourself, How much control would you like to have over your own money, over your own bank? And how frequently would you like to communicate with the blockchain, and how frequently would you like to harvest interest? And then answering those questions, you get a better and better idea of how to prepare your own staking ladder.
Okay. Hi there. I just want to say thank you to Crypto Schwalberg and to Freedom TV and Maddie Allen. This is a great event. Happy to be here. My question is, with the Stakehrap, is it enough to be staked to benefit from the fork to get on, for the Pulse chain?
So when you are an active Stakehrap user, you will get the full fork as well. So, and they will also create the user interface for every active Stakehrap user, where you will have just a button to switch between the Ethereum network and the Pulse chain network.
Okay, and for instance, I have children that are just starting to become early adults here, and how much can they, without what I've noticed with other platforms, exchanges, they can't get onboarded because of their age, the KYC. But it seems like with Hex, they can have some control.
Yes, they can. So it always comes down, do you want them to control their own money, their own private key, or do you want to just make it for them? So if you want to make it for them, you can generate just another address over your private key, not over your Stakehrap. That would be like if you're having a hardware wallet or different kind of wallets. So just create a new one and make a stake for them on this wallet, on this public address, and then you can download them, the Stakehrap, and just insert this one public address. Doing it that way, they don't have control over the money, so they can accidentally press the emergency button, end stake button. So it always depends like what you want for them. So when it comes like to my family and the little ones, I said, okay, I will do that for them, created like different addresses, put a stake for everybody, and then they downloaded the Stakehrap without using the smart wallet in there, and then I just sent it them their public address to put into, that they can just mirror and watch their portfolio grow, and they cannot fuck it up.
Thank you.
The best thing you ever said all night. I understand.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any more questions?
Down there.
Is there an official like penalty structure? I know you talked about, say you're in 10 years, 5 years. Is there a specific like vesting schedule available online that you can refer to?
So if you got a magnet, the Back to the Future magnet that I gave out, if
I have one.
okay, perfect. So if you go to that QR code, and one of the links on there is called the Hex Layman's Guide, and then there's another one called the Layperson's Guide, and they were made by different people. And those both break down the Hex smart contract. They link to it so you can see all 2,500 lines of code. Do you want to know what my favorite line of code is in the Hex smart contract?
Yes, I do, actually.
It's line 718.
And I will check this code out.
Perfect. So on line 718, it says what the maximum length is that you can stake. It's 5,555 days. And the reason I like that is because it leaves meat on the bone for people later on, because it defines what the longest stake is.
And sorry, one more question.
Yes.
What's the shortest stake you can do?
1 day.
1 day?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
So, so the shortest amount is 1 day. So you always, so the Hex smart contract calculates in days. So in days based on the UTC time, Universal Standard Time. UTC, yes. Huh?
UTC?
Yeah, like this time. So it's like, how much hours is that? It's like this time plus 5 or something like that. Yeah. And when you make a stake, like right now, then when UTC time would be 00, your stake would be live. Then you can stake, for example, 1 day. You wait 24 hours. When the day ticks over again, you get your interest and you can end stake it. But each and every time you have like this one, or this, not this one pending day, this nearly 1 day of pending. Because only when the smart contract ticks over, all the stakes go live.
Just as a note, that for the East Coast, it's at 7 p.m. currently is when UTC, UTC day starts. Just for
yeah, I think it
I was
like
confused
8
with the
PM.
time change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It was 8, now it's 7 after day.
Yeah, it didn't say because mine was 5, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's between 5 and.
We do some fun things.
So.
Yeah, thanks for for the meetup. I have just one question. Is there a desktop version of Stakehrap?
No, there is not. Currently, there is not a web version. It's work in progress. So the Stakehrap team started about a year ago, and they were starting now with the perfect phone app. And in addition to that, there might come a web version in the future. But for now, there is no web version now.
So using a laptop, you would use MetaMask, metamask.io.
If there's no more questions.
Any more questions?
They all know. They know what this means.
There are no more questions. They know what this means. I got you.
There's one over here.
There's no more questions.
There's 4 cocktails of the fire right now.
So if you have like a stake out for the 15 years, is it possible to take out any money against your stake as it appreciates?
Maybe there will be some systems in the future where you can get a loan against your stake. As of right now, there aren't any of these systems. So right now, I would say no. And you are not able to collect any interest. Only if your duration matures. So only if your stake matures, you can collect your principal and all the accrued interest on it.
Or if you serve half your time, then you can end the stake early, you can get your principal out, and then all the interest goes to the people who have been letting their stakes mature.
Don't encourage people to emergency end stake, Maddie. All right, so I guess we answered everything more or less, you know, so after the workshop we can still... Thank you, thanks a lot. And so after the workshop I will still be around, you know, for any further things. So just one thing, Maddie, time to go?
Yes.
All right, so thanks a lot to Maddie for...
Please put your hands together for Maddie All In.
So we stream every Tuesday night for 4 to 5 hours, and so you can check me out on YouTube, Maddie All In. Thank you.
All right, so Maddie will leave to his live stream for the setup and so on, and we are heading over to the last section of today's workshop, which is the giveaway section. And at first, we have to give away a lot of Hex merch. We have books here, we have hats here, we have t-shirts here, and then after that, the main prize today would be 5,555 Hex as a giveaway. And yeah.
All right, folks, we're almost done with the workshop. We're just going to do the raffle now.
Are we ready? Yes. Okay, so then let's pick some winners here. First winner would be Simon. Stand at Simon, yeah. Yeah, that's Simon. Second one would be Will Sinatra. Thank you.
The third one's Dale.
Next one is Hisham Abdo. Yeah, congratulations, perfect. So, next one, Tony Cove. Yes. This one, Kim Boneo. Kim, yes.
Dale. It'll be easier on all of us.
Just say my name 5 times.
Dale.
It's Vanessa. Handwriting's a little weird.
This is Dale.
Hey.
I didn't get a ticket.
Ah.
We didn't even get tickets.
Okay. Then Billy Collins.
Billy.
Where is Billy?
Billy.
Here we go.
Old Billy Collins. Fucking Billy.
Fucking Billy. He fucking wins everything.
Next one, Lynn. Where is Lynn? Lynn Abate. Right there. Then I have one of the family here, Shualia. Who is Shualia? Is it correct? No. Suhaila. Congratulations to you, Suhaila. Perfect. Then Laurie Shuh. So, next one, Don Montoya. So we still have some merch left? Yes. Joshua Mossey. Hello, welcome. Malone, or is it a C and the L, or is it a? I guess it's Malone. Malone.
3 more.
Oh, 3 more. Okay, just keep going.
Keep it going, bro.
Brian C. Yeah. And then we have the last one. 1 book, 2 book, and Sue B. And last merch winner would be Gina. Yeah.
I'm going all back in because everybody has the chance to win the Hex. So I'm all back in.
And then
shake them up.
Shake them, and then you pick it.
Oh God.
Yes, Kaylin picks the winner. Kaylin picks the winner.
I'm gonna be honest, guys. I got one thing in mind.
I can pick it for you.
Come on.
Come on, Dale.
So who is the winner?
Leroy Nelson.
Yes, so Leroy, come out to me. Come here. Leroy. Yeah. Come out to me. Come out to me.
Give my little man some Hex. Send him some, even if I have to sponsor them, send him some Hex.
Okay, okay. All right, and during I do the giveaway and so on, I would like to thank Adam and Lindsay to bring everything here together. Please come out as well and talk with the audience. Yeah, no problem. We will do that. We will figure that. Yeah. So we have microphones. So congratulations to you, and let's go here, and we are creating the wallet right now. Rob will. You have a cell phone with you, right? Yeah. Yes, perfect.
All right. Just want to thank everyone for coming tonight.
And Lindsay.
Yeah, I'm Adam. This is Lindsay. We're from Vibra Finance here. We do crypto consulting in the area. So anyone here that downloads their wallet and installs it, come get my business card and send me an email with your wallet address, and I will send you some Hex so we can get you guys all started, and your adventure can begin. And I'd also like to thank George in the back. He was one of the donators for
thank you, George.
From the Hex. So and he owns Johnson Supply in Troy. So anyone
for
needs
all of your heating
heater,
and cooling needs.
Yep. Anyone needs heat or anything this winter, it's your guy back there. I want to thank Brian Louisi. He was also one of the donators for the Hex. So, yeah.
Woo!
Just want to thank everyone again for coming.
So they're making it possible for each one of you today to walk out of here and know that you'll have Hex coming to you. And that you have support in the area to show you how to get the app loaded on your phone and get you all set on your way. Congratulations to Leroy. That is a huge prize. Yeah. Thank you.
And if anybody has questions or anything about Hex or things, just reach out to us. There's a couple other people at the company that are here to help. So.
Yep, we have a whole team ready to onboard you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So that wraps up our workshop for this evening. I hate to be that guy, but we're going to do some interviews in here, but we're all still going to hang around for a little bit. If you have questions, you can meet us in the lobby and ask whatever questions you have. Just so everybody understands, I think when you did registration, you kind of figured out the name tag system. But those pink tags, if you see those guys, ask those guys questions, right? They know the answers. So go ahead and meet us in the lobby. Thank you.
All right.